Welcome everyone. Mostly one AMD GPU reset later because as usual AMD GPU on Steam Deck and displays and stuff. Anyway, one reboot later is a Windows-like experience nowadays thanks to AMD GPU and dongles and USB, everything USB-C. So today, aspiring computer scientist who is using the wrong tools, aka not an IDE, to fix all bugs, apparently, according to YouTube comments. Today let's fix another bug. Yesterday we fixed LVM, basically we fix a bug or a dozen a day. Yesterday LVM implementation details, because of course it did not just work. Today Unicode. I know about this bug for years already, but with my 666 bugs on my to-do list, it takes a year or two to work through of them, and unfortunately every other day I find a new one. So what's wrong with this Unicode Consortium? They have an example library. Of course, there are various other Unicode implementations, but they have a reference implementation similar to libjpeg from the independent JPEG group there. And so they have a ICU, International Unicode Consortium library for C and JavaScript and Java and stuff. And that library is actually on a base Linux system. You don't really need it the most except for Firefox, which we're just running here, right? So as we obviously want to run Firefox on all our necessities for gracious, successful vintage Linux and state-of-the-art computing living, we obviously need that. So if you build this normally, of course the library, well, of course the library works mostly except the bugs, but like if we cross-compile it, if we do for like probably basically forever, cross-compiled does not work, right? At least when the endianness is different. Because we tried to debug this the other day, but it's such a convoluted mess that like one live stream was not enough. So the problem is we just cross-compile it, for example, on an Epic Threadripping Ryzen for our embedded PowerPC board, our embedded MIPS board and stuff, then it doesn't work, right? You install it here, like here on an IBM PowerPC, big endian, and then ICU info, as you see, or at least this one near you, resource like error. The other thing is Firefox just crashes, right? But ICU info prints this. CLDR too long, didn't read, error, you missing, resource error. TSET. We tried, they have different variations, right? So they have different options to install this Unicode data files that map all the upper, lowercase languages and such details like you would need for like also line breaking and word breaking and all the heuristics and hard codings for all the languages, right? So they have different variations, which the other live stream, ironically, the others are even more broken, right? So they have install as resource files, like multiple files, like 100 or so. That did not even work. We debugged around yesterday or so, or the day before yesterday, for an hour, couldn't get it to work. It's ridiculous, right? So they have options like install this data, single file, multiple files, and this is installing embedded the data into the shared objects. And like this is the only thing that at least installs. The other options do not even install because it's probably too difficult for a multi-million-dollar funded consortium. Recurring theme, right? LVM. Previous video, I had to fix the release. Like, don't make this up, just watch the previous videos. So there I have somewhere was a huge battery of logos, just that you see that this is a, where is even freaking, is this even the freaking website? I just on my other workstation was on this site. Somewhere was huge. It's probably not that, is it? Quick fix not wanted. Anyway, it doesn't matter, let's fix the bugs. Somewhere was a nice list of, okay, whatever, you get the idea, right? Everyone is in there and it doesn't work. You would think with decades of Unicode stuff, decades of embedded Linux, Android, probably Wi-Fi access points and stuff, truly someone would have fixed it, actually checked some of the other Linux distributions, right? Why do most people not notice it? Because most people build natively. Only we support all architectures. And other Linux distributions, a few other Linux distributions who support DEC Alpha, PowerPC and MIPS and stuff, they compile natively, they have a data center full of abundant stuff to build stuff in 1 month. We build stuff in 2 hours. And so we find this by cross-compiling. I even checked Open Embedded. I did not see that Open Embedded has a patch for that, right? It's one of our competitors of, obviously you want to use T2 because it's the most readable, most full-featured, and so on. So Open Embedded also didn't have something there. So because like, why do we do this? Because nobody, not even Open Embedded apparently, at least as far as I've seen, they don't have a patch there. Maybe they YOLO or something up with running stuff in QEMU. So let's see what is even going on, right? So the other live stream, and so the thing is, why do you not use an IDE? It's like, because I usually need to explore different stuff anyway. So like an IDE, which, hey, my IDE is here or here, Emacs, Vim, right? But like exploring and diffing stuff is not something an IDE would help. And usually I work with so big sources, they are already too big to debug in GDB, let alone like 100,000 files of Firefox and the Linux kernel. Good luck with your IDE, but comment below what an slow bug hunting, unprofessional computer scientist I allegedly, to some YouTube comments, apparently am. So I rebuilt this natively. Usually we would now have waited, because why do we cross-compile it even on a only 10-year-old IBM thing? It builds like, you need Python, 10 minutes gone or 8 minutes gone, depending on, even on an Power 8, yeah, 5 minutes Python or so. It's like, yeah, that is why. So I recompiled this, and as you see, I built it natively and then it works. Actually, by the way, did not even check. You know what? Let's quickly check. I don't have the highest hopes for Firefox, but the end goal here, the end game, is actually having Firefox working again, right? The last unsuccessful YouTubers trying to get Firefox working on non-mainstream CPUs. Right, I did. Oh, we even have display for some reason. Why? How is this in here? Don't even. Okay, whatever. So there should be Firefox from last night, and of course it crashes. So yeah, there is still more Firefox. And now try to debug this in an IDE. Try to debug this in your IDE. Program PLD receive. Okay, that is not particularly helpful, but okay, need to access of kernel address. Exploit attempt. Oh, that is interesting. So probably either the XPT calling or JavaScript stuff. So I mean, obviously the address apparently is totally invalid. So probably some JavaScript floating point boxing and whatnot. Anyway, let's for today ICU4C. I built this natively, so we need to figure out which program, which data file is even affected. That is the first thing I want to find out, because right now, the day before yesterday, I debugged for 1 hour, and the problem is, why are you not using a fancy IDE? It's like, it's debugging the build system anyway, right? It's again something, even the most colorful Visual Studio thing would not help me, aside running this on a build server at the end of the office, because like true professionals build their stuff on the epic thread ripping build servers. But I need to investigate make files and stuff, right? I did not create this. This is the Unicode Consortium's makefile stuff. So I would also not wish to use such a convoluted non-standard build system, but it's apparently what you get when you let Microsoft and companies like that work on that. So to find out what is here different, I guess we create here in user source. So we need to analyze what files even change, because right now I'm not even sure what precisely is changing there. Let's maybe make mkdir broken, and let's extract here the package. That is a cross-compiled one. And the point of this video is I need to sit eventually. I procrastinated that some 3 years. I knew about this for some 3 years. But it's, of course, not something enjoyable to do, right? Like those people, make what you love your hobby and you will not work another day of your life. It's like, yeah, make what you love your hobby, and you need to debug others people's convoluted low quality code and build systems. So why did not do that for 3 years? Because it's not fun, right? But share, like, subscribe, Patreon, GoFundMe, because nobody else is doing the no fun stuff, right? Looking at you, Microsoft and Google and Apple. And, anyway, so that is a cross-compiled thing. We extracted that to broken, then mkdir working. So now we don't have a binary package, unfortunately. So so probably forget those files, or we could also loop for that. So either we copy those files out of the system from the metadata here in the f-lists, or for use ICU4C. The only problem is that some are zoom links and stuff. But cut delimiter space field 2 and up. Do we have so it's not the most easy, unfortunately. Maybe the easiest. You know what? Let's first try to just diff it instead of copying it. We would need to diff it anyway. Okay, so these are the broken ones. Best with a double CC. So these are the broken files. Then let's for that. Let's see which file even changed. Diff u maybe from how would this, probably for directories, probably would do something sensible, right? So for each of those files, all right, for while read f, do diff that from that file to the, actually diff broken, I usually from non-working to fixed, right? From old to new, so from broken to now currently in system working. Okay, the checksum, I mean, some stuff is checksum, so this is what changed. I guess that could, thanks to the Unix stuff, like also people, why do you use this command line stuff? Like, yeah, how do you do this on Windows? How do you analyze system files? This is why people troll me on YouTube, think they are smarter with their fancy Windows IDE. You can't even do this stuff at all comfortably on Windows. Like, do you now want to Google UI graphical tools for exactly this job or what? This is why we script stuff on the command line like computers were invented and made for 60 years ago, because it is still the most efficient, accessible, easily, readily available stuff. And for on Windows and macOS, for everything you need a bloody app. You can't even do that out of the box, right? Not even with Visual Studio. But what do I know? I only do this for 25 years and fix all the bugs in the industry that nobody else is fixing. So, aspiring computer scientist not knowing what he's talking about. So, let's diff that. So some stuff changes, so that makes sense, right? This is ICU config, fair enough. Not the super most amazing thing, but it is what it is. Probably I should actually put it on a to-do, and this probably should auto-fix it. So makefile include, so yeah, this just makes sense, right? We changed this from building that on Ryzen. Actually epic thread gripping and local. Yeah, it sucks that it is like that, but probably I should, you know what, to do 667. Our unpaid labor is secured for decades to come. Fix config and ink like ICU4C, not to include cross to prefixes. It will work. It's mostly cosmetics. That will also work in a native build, because at least in T2 we have probably those around, but it should not be in there like that. So that's not the point, right? It's just like it's working. Good that we have visual confirmation. This diffing does what we want it to do. Okay, so the binary files differ, so all the ICU data differs. That is not good. It should of course not differ. And that's what I wanted to know, right? So it's really just this data files. The crazy thing is, ICU4C the other day we saw they have provisioning in there for endiness, right? So they create endiness data. The problem is they embed binary data, and the endiness, so this cross-compiling in T2 only works for this when the endiness is the same, right? Usually all the other packages do work, but because they embed data in there, then the data access doesn't work. So all of those differ completely. This could anyway be the case. So the day before yesterday, I wanted to change it to use files because I personally would like resource files more. I could not even get their data package as resource files to work in over 1 hour because somehow everything was broken and not working. So maybe nobody's using it, nobody's testing it, but I don't know. Because this thing is, now I don't know, did code change, which also was, I mean, it should be the identical compiler, except on Ryzen it's cross-compiling. It should still produce the same code, but you never know. Bugs and implementation, marginalities, differences. So it should be the same optimization because that is controlled by the T2 sandbox, but it would also be cool reproducible builds, whether code actually changes. Maybe I should do a research project for that. And the benefit of resource files would also be now we would know which resource files differ, right? Because as you see, we have mostly here CLDR version missing resource error. I was hoping like maybe there is a complete file missing, but it isn't. So yeah, so okay, actually some config, okay, only some config changes. And then the T2 checksums, they also change, of course, because here that was different. So all those binary data is different. So this files changed. So this did not help us much. I just wanted to confirm this might not look like much, but I wanted to be really sure because I spent already 1 freaking hour on their build system. If there is more, apparently there is not. Somehow this uconf changed. Whatever they, but that here, for example, how reproducible is the T2 build? Maybe we should make an effort of even more reproducible industry standard Unix solutions things, because look at that. Built between an AMD EPIC thread-ripping system, cross-compiling the binary, bit identical, right? How amazing is my work of 25 years creating the most plain vanilla, just working Linux distribution, so reproducible, it produces sandbox controlled, GCC wrapped, cross-compiling, native, bit identical binary, at least here for some of those executables. I mean, not for those. Later, it would be amazing to see if, when we fix this, hopefully, if then the library they should be bit identical, but right now, at least. I mean, you know what? We could actually object dump those. You know what? If only the binary, not let's maybe, so this here changed, right, from, by the way, it is here 7 to Y, this changed in a, okay. We could actually disassemble, by the way, look at this, even this ICU IO and ICU test, they are also bit identical, right? So much to, but your cross-compiling is somehow lesser technology. No, a cross-compiler is just the same compiler, just running on another system. It should know bugs and implementation marginalities and stuff you're holding and compiling wrong. It should produce bit identical things just faster, right? Just orders of magnitudes faster when you run this on the latest and greatest AMD TM EPIC thread-ripping technology. And case in point, this executables here, bit identical. I rest my case. So we could actually disassemble and look at this. So this is also, maybe there's no data file or whatever. So good, we confirmed it's just, I mean, it is inside there. And next, I don't just know if, for example, I mean, this maybe sounds like that. Maybe we disassemble object dump this one here. So that would be object dump. We can, by the way, we could see if the text is the text section, that text is a program. It sounds stupid, I would not have named it like this. Maybe I should look up the historic implementation details. Why this is called text, because I would call it binary or executable. If you are an object format historian, leave me in the comments below why this is called text. I have found it always strange and wondered for years. Probably time to Google that. Also this is J. J section dot text. You obviously do this in your Visual Studio, right? that here, so that it is the working one. Also, this right. We want to disassemble that. Somehow mention section text mention not found in any input file. What? Why is there no text? Should there not be a text section? That is interesting. I'm pretty sure this was -j text. There is hash dsm data. So here's ICU DT74 data. And basically, you know what? Let's dump that here. So that is. Let's just call this working, maybe. Does it also do something? Does it really disassemble that freaking long? Hello? Let's run this in the background and do the same for broken. This is freaking huge, man. Okay, this apparently runs a while. This disassembling random data. Basically fuzzing the GNU bin utils object tools disassembler with random data. What could possibly go wrong? Diff u broken to working. That could potentially, I mean, probably the whole data section changes there. Okay. How did paste work? Did paste broken working? Did it work like, okay, it worked like this? So paste is a Unix tool to paste two things left and right next to each other, right? So like professionals do when you're not clever enough to use an IDE, integrated development environment. So let's see, what do we have here? So the hash, they actually disassemble in the beginning. Oh, so here's data. Let's see. You see, this is onion swapped. This is freaking onion swapped. So this is pointless. Like this tool is doing the wrong thing. It's just the Unicode people, of course, know better than the rest of the industry and think distributing data like program data, of resource data, of Unicode things, like here. This is what I'm talking about, right? And like, why has there no, like, okay, I get it. All serious embedded engineering Linux professionals, of course, use the necessity for gracious Linux embedded living and development, which obviously is T2 Linux, right? Like, obviously everyone and Red Hat. I just realized not only is Red Hat, I did not check the last months, but previously my long-term running joke, number one host access to our T2 website, Red Hat Netpool, is not Netpool, whatever, redhat.com. Yay! And just today I realized the number one access to my LinkedIn profile is from Red Hat organization. At least that is what, like they say there. You might be interested to know. So, yeah, thank you very much. Anyway, you're welcome. We fixed the stuff for you. So this is exactly 27DA090. That is what we're talking about in terms of little versus big endian, right? When the difference. If you're new to this stuff, CPUs, you can write hex. So this are what probably I should make dedicated programming videos, right? For aspiring programmers to become as successful as we. And make here dedicated videos of lesson 1, in-memory representation of numbers, integer and floating point. And so that is what a number, a 32-bit number, is represented as in base 16, written here in contrast to base 10, what most people use here for counting with fingers. And so base 16 from 0 to F, from 9A instead of 10, A, B, C, D, E, F, in case you're new to this stuff. And then you can also choose how to store this in memory. Most people naturally, so if this is a number 27DA090, if that is a number that is actually big endian. So this is how you would naturally write it on paper. That is why many engineers actually prefer big endian, but for some reason Intel and unfortunately too much of the industry has decided to store it little endian. So most of the world, and increasingly more so, systems including RISC-V work with a not as natural endianness, which is little endian, writing it opposite of how you would draw it naturally on paper, starting here with the little address first. So if that is a real number in big endian 2070A0090 hex, then this is the reversed byte swapped, or that is what byte swapping is, right? It's not agreeing on how to store the memory, the little versus big endianness world. And obviously some people will tell you that big and endianness matters. Anyway, so that is exactly what we were here for. Now we have proven it. Actually, this is not all swapped, by the way. So that is swapped. I just realize other numbers here are not swapped. So this is exactly swapped. But I just saw the other numbers are not swapped here. For example, here is 0. But that could be that this line is swapped, right? So there's serious data corruption of little versus big endianness disagreement going on. You see this here is exactly swapped, the next one not. But it could be that these fields are bytes. So it could be that this is actually byte data, whatever. Maybe this is a header of some data structure, and then there is glyph data or stuff. So maybe these are 8-bit quantities from 0 to 255, from 0 to FF hex, which is why this might not be swapped. Is this still running, or is it? This is X server. For some reason, it is slightly shorter for some strange reason. Okay, diffing that is going well, I see. This is why I resorted. The problem is diffing takes then very long and 30 or whatnot megabyte of data, even on a dual core Power PC from a decade ago. Yeah, oh, did I say 30? I meant 300 freaking megabyte. Some of the size is some byte different, for a couple of bytes different. Not really sure where that is coming from. Anyway, so that is basically it. So all the data. The irony is I debugged through this shit. The thing is, the reason I analyzed this now more precisely, not only for you to learn something and have some interesting YouTube content, which thank you Unicode Consortium for a decade later still not getting this right, that I wanted to be sure what to debug, right? I wasted already 1 hour trying to decipher the convoluted make files that of course you would load in your Visual Studio. Or with C-line. It's obviously how you build stuff with makefiles, right? C-line probably has a run button for that, right? At least Emacs had 25 years ago. Anyway, so we need to fix this somehow. Long story short, it's endianness swapping. It is real. It is not other binary corruption or whatnot. It's embedded data. I wanted to once and for all. I mean, I knew that that is the difference between having the imperial impression of by trial and error. I realized native compiled stuff does not behave correctly. Is it that? Is it something else? Ironically, they have binary swapped endianness generation in there, as I knew and we have seen in the previous live stream. But apparently, when you use Visual Studio or other integrated IDEs, it is apparently impossible for $1 million funded and big multi-corporations to fix that for their Android cross-builds at Google, Microsoft or Apple. So let's fix that once and for all, because we have an increasingly successful operating system to release and our embedded community to cater for. Let's build this verbose here so that now we can control C that. That's a little bit low-tech solution. Now, of course, you would at home use your Visual Studio to go in here and load this Visual Studio project, right? If you're more successful than I, and so that would be somehow what was the bloody name? It was ICU for C and then sources. And one thing, so let's build that probably was all right. Do we log this? Usually we log this. And all right, did we? One more. We did build this with all of this. Okay, it's probably even make opt. I probably should log this slightly different, to be honest, more compact. All right, so theoretically, so this is how this is building that. And so today we are not interested in debugging the C++ code, which probably we will also be disappointed in if we look into that. So somewhere in there, so one day later, one live stream later, somewhere in there they generate the data. And the last time, okay, let's clean this again. The last time I didn't quite find the right place. Let's log this to log and include error messages too. I just want to log so that we can search in there with our favorite integrated development environment, like NeoVim or so. Cheers. So long story short, I hope you liked and understood the introductional summary. People hate NPM, cargo, YAM, poetry, everything is broken and nothing works. Yes, welcome to my life. Thankfully someone agrees. Happy that you share some common sense. Provide data. How would you provide the data in a platform agnostic way? Is there a way to, well, you can just, you could just use network byte order, which is fun fact, all network data transferred big endian. So all the lesser little Indian systems need to byte swap everything, because so you could store everything network byte order. So you could agree that big endian makes more sense, like if you use a hex editor, because little endian data in a hex editor also looks wrong, right? If you open data in a hex editor like Visual Studio, click on hex view, then you see all the little endian data wrong, right? Which also, if you disassemble x86 or other RISC-V and other little endian, PowerPC little endian, then you always stare on inverted hex data, right? I find a little bit annoying. I mean, sure, you can work with everything, but yeah. You could also just use other JSON-like files or other protocol buffers. There are gazillion ways. Like basically every other project of all the 400 source things we built in T2 for a successful cross-build thing do not have this problem, right? Not even Firefox. The only thing, I mean, except maybe there are a couple of other things that we probably also patched 20 years ago, but this is the only package that does it so shitty that this happens. For example, this is also why yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I tried to switch to using resource files in the hope that if the native resource files would work, but not only did they not install correctly, even if we guided the installation to, like, for 30 minutes we quirked around in their build systems to even install the resource files in their data whatnot file installation method. Even then it wasn't working, right? So much to why do you even have data providing methods in there that neither install, and if you hack them to install, it still doesn't work. Probably I should open Premier, Gold, Platinum and preferred sponsors like the Unicode and other Linux Foundation concepts. So if you want to support this effort of at least someone debugging something, YouTube membership, Patreon, like someone did new Patreon yesterday, highly appreciated. You guys are amazing. All of you GitHub sponsors and Patreon patrons. So somewhere in there, let's see if we find this. So we even install, the irony is I even edit here this installation of this ICU4C. So we already need to pre-build that in the tool chain. Of course, we do this for years, if not a decade. So this is here somewhere. What even was it? I see. But this is by the way the data stuff of theoretically data packaging. So files doesn't work. Like I would like resource files, but it doesn't work. Like basically the only thing that apparently works is auto, which is choosing library. So archive and files doesn't even freaking work. Maybe someone wants to go in there and fix that. Maybe I'm just installing that wrong with Visual Studio or so. Maybe I need to click another UI button of installing that differently or so. Maybe I need to click the upload to Microsoft Store button or whatever. I'm of course joking. So here we have this ICU table gen stuff, and that is in probably I think it was either ICU package. We actually tested that the other day. ICU package, I just forgot. Okay, we have here ICU package. So at least let's see ICU package. Either it was this one, all in ICU. This is building that and the man page. Remove ICU package inc. That is installing. So if we are super unlucky, which usually we are, because it's our life, this makefile stuff might not even log that. Either is that or ICU4C. Is that package data? What did I even do? Package data or gendic? Oops. Gendict. I mean, these are not verbose hiding make files. I don't see that here run somewhere. So which are those broken files? So for example, ICU, which did we disassemble? ICU data, of course. Let's see how they built this. But yeah, why are you not using Visual Studio or Xcode? Like, yeah, how is Xcode and Visual Studio? Like 90% of the time I hunt cursed stuff in cursed makefiles. So here is package data. Yes, he calls package data for some reason. Out lib data package dead o, probably somewhere here. Library path, test, whatnot. Here's package data, so bin package data. So data ICU package inc qc-s. That is probably, so they don't specify the endianness here, I guess. So then it's using whatever package data user ICU package, was it package? So yeah, it's a little bit shady that this is installed into the system as package data. It's a pretty generic name for something ICU4C only. So this stuff has endianness conversion stuff, because obviously they knew that is necessary, just their default build system does apparently not specify this. So either there was, yes, even files and library and stuff. Where is endian? I had here, I don't have that here yet. Package data or something had mode. Darn it. Is it not in this one here? What was the other ICU? The other thing was gen dict, for example. The question is, which of those was it even? Which was the also don't see a... Which was even... I should make a note, man. To be honest, viewers also spent a good time on the terminal and they were joking about C-line ID, though. Which were developed something. You were developing something for this workflow, vintage, bug hunting. Guys, this is the best scripts. I'm a little bit confused which of those programs takes, or I mean, if with our luck, it could even be that they don't supply the endianness, that they don't output it. Endian, which was even the freaking... I made this here already, which by the way, I think it was unused, right? I basically probably should... darn. Should have moved version NDNS here, by the way, because I didn't. But I moved it now there, but we probably need it. Anyway, which even was a bloody... they even had it documented. The irony is they had it documented. They had it documented, and yet it doesn't work. Like, they have a switch. Where is the... By default data's endianness, where is... Yeah, so like this stuff doesn't work, right? Like why do they even, I mean it doesn't work for me. I mean if I'm just building that wrong, let me know. Where is even... Darn it. They always forget those to-do comments and leave it then for decades, by the way. What do you mean, me or Unicode? This is so frustrating. You looked into that. This is also why usually I try to finish stuff the same day or so. You just GRB. Oops. This is standard out or what? Some of format version 1, what was the bloody verbose? I mean, this somehow didn't, I think it didn't. I think it outputs a standard error. Damn it. Strict binary collection format version. Filter dir, oh come on, it can't be. So they had something like dash T or whatnot. Oh, how can this be so cursed? It wasn't that. Which other gen enrolled? Gen RP? Make conf? Was it not freaking package data? No, T is temp dir. Oh, darn it. Windows, quite darn it. Okay, you know what? I think we find that they had here even some endian in there. Somewhere in. Here, TL, ICU swap. So basically we need that just for which tool? I thought it was T. Why is it? So we need basically TB. This also, if you want to grab that, you of course need to escape that, right? ICU swap TB. I mean, not that in the end, this is funny, they even have fear-tb. Is this our log file? So they have run that with -tb. That is bizarre. They even have run this with Big endian. So what is, so this is ICU package. Do they not dash T? Am I blind or what? Or does this option not output that? Now I want to know if this is in there. This option is this option is not documented or what? I looked on a bloody usage output and well, it was package data, huh? Or I know ICU package. What? This is not installed. This is not installed. This is our okay. Okay, so that is even another thing. Good to know. Then I wonder if our cross package, the way it configured, has that swapped. Like if they, so this is, you always need to keep your mind open for things, right? Because maybe this is swapping it wrong then? Maybe this is confused about the endianness, and the question is, or I mean, maybe we check if ICU package, maybe we also check ICU package. Here they run it with TB for big endian. That would be correct. TB. Here they have. The ones where they run that with ICU package TB. Here's also ICU data. I mean, one way to find out would be to run it with little and see if, like, basically that would be, so yeah, so maybe even they run it right, but compile the native thing wrong for some reason. I mean, maybe we could, so probably I will continue this off screen. So basically that is the thing, right? It's doing something, it clearly is wrong, broken in some way. Maybe the first thing would be to try to quickly, I usually do this like high-level surrounding analysis first, because reading the sources often takes longer. And understanding all the convoluted source code. Because the question is, they had here some swap somewhere. Swap also. At least I saw here. Where even was it? Data. Darn. Yeah, I will work another hour probably on this. I'm not really versed to live stream this. Most people don't appreciate the longest videos. But that is the stuff we have to deal with, right? The second day looking in this stuff, I mean, yeah, with more funding, if this would be my day job and I would look like all 8 hours long from 9 to 5 to 9 to 5, then maybe we would have fixed it already. But the reality is, I also have other stuff to do. That's not the most sexy. So I will finish it today, hopefully. Famous last words, if it's even fixable. I mean, maybe it is also possible that they only implement partial swapping and the swap data is correct and they don't swap other stuff. So There can be anything from the swapping not working, the swapping being inversed, to the stuff not even swapping enough. We will see. Maybe I first start to hard code that. I mean, maybe we could try that for maybe still live. If people, some amazing fans are of course often here. Let's maybe move this log one direction down, then we have less matches there. Let's maybe try if we manually swap that differently, if it magically fixes that. This is also wait with TB, right? That would be quirking the we probably need to, or not, maybe not, but it would be good to know where they even have this in the make file. Where did I grab? It's recursive. It should have been in there. TB. This is the man page. This is the usage. That is something else. Test. This is in tests. I should delete tests. Here's data stuff. So here is temp data det. Somehow with TB, not okay. But let's maybe make clean. We want to rebuild it anyway. Let's do that again. Is that already? First, need to figure out where this. Yeah, convoluted build systems, right? Not that Meson and Ninja would be more amazing. I'm just saying it's also a little bit here. So here's actually make data. If this is that one. Did I already search for TB? No. Usage struct is still the tests, more tests. That was other stuff. So here is data make file. It's somehow in this .dat files already. But not sure if they are generated from configure or this temp though. Do they support make disk clean? Oh, they do. Is it then still there? Data. This is still there. Did the other disappear? Were they temporarily generated? It is not configured now, right? Of course not. I'm surprised. That is in there, TB. That is gen data. What do they do here? That Unicode data, if not exists. Here's also tset data. I mean, I wonder, as this was not all the data, it could also be that it's only missing some data, right? Like, although here's even ICU data, B for Big Indian, data name, path, because this is tset, like maybe it's cross-compiling, just missing some data. Although most of the stuff was swapped. So yeah, the question is, test data, this is swap the test data extract. Why do they call this test? So was it in data makefile test? Not really sure why. Or maybe they decided, the problem with this convoluted hard to read makefiles is also to figure out what they use there. Maybe they have the rules twice in there, once with a B name and once with an L name. Anyway, I'll continue to look into this. I'm relatively confident to, like, if it's not entirely possibly broken, which at times unfortunately it also is, to fix that today. I hope you enjoyed this, learn something, have some insights in all things embedded Linux, and learn something. Leave in the comments below how you would make everything better, more efficient with what IDE I need to know, obviously to cut down some time. Have a good day, go out, fix some things, and don't forget to Patreon, share, like, subscribe, and I hope to see you soon for all the amazing T2 release with corrected engine swapping data to come.